Jimmy! Jimmy hid behind a door!
Open the damn door, Jimmy!
Well, the sheriff...
The Silo series has constantly kept viewers on edge with its complex world building and mysterious secrets. One of the most intriguing and ominous elements is the algorithm. This omnipresent force seems to have its eyes and ears everywhere within the silo, controlling access, managing resources, and ensuring the survival of the system. But there's one glaring question that's been bugging fans since the show introduced the algorithm. Why doesn't the algorithm make an appearance in Silo 17? Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In episode 9 of season 2, we see how the algorithm warns Lucas Kyle of the Safeguard, a self-destruction protocol built into the silos in case of rebellion or breach. The algorithm, ever vigilant, has its fingers on the pulse of the silo system. Yet, when we turn to Silo 17 and its notorious Uprising, the algorithm is suspiciously absent. So, why is that? This theory will delve into possible reasons for the algorithm's absence, and for that, we'll need to venture into the world of spoilers, particularly from the Silo books. If you're not afraid of spoilers, buckle up because we're going deep into the mystery of Silo 17.
Quinn and Meadows were both given the same directive you will now receive.
Silo 17, the Uprising and the absence of the algorithm. When we first learn about the Uprising in Silo 17, the narrative becomes even more cryptic. The rebellion's outcome was disastrous, with most rebels dying after they opened the airlock and were exposed to a deadly dust. This dust, according to Jimmy Conroy, also known as Solo, killed those who stepped outside but spared the survivors who remained inside, like Jimmy, Eater, Rick, and Audrey. Here's where the algorithm's absence becomes strange. The Safeguard protocol, designed to eliminate any threat to the silo system, would have activated had the algorithm detected the rebellion. In any other silo, triggering the Safeguard would release a poisonous gas, wiping out all life inside. So why was Silo 17 different? Why didn't the algorithm step in to save the system from what was clearly a major breach? We know that the algorithm is all-powerful in many respects. It's connected to every silo, monitoring and controlling various systems to maintain order. Yet, Silo 17 seems to be an anomaly. The protocol didn't activate. Rebels weren't wiped out by the usual Safeguard. The key question remains, why?
The founders didn't build a single silo. They built 50.
The rogue IT head of Silo 40, a possible connection. Let's look at a major event in the history of the Silo system that might shed some light on the mystery. In the show, we learn about a rogue IT head from Silo 40 who hacked the Silo system years before the Uprising in Silo 17. This data breach, in which the master system was compromised, cut off communication between Silo 1 and the other silos. The consequences were catastrophic. A dozen silos, including Silo 40, went dark, and the founders lost control of these silos. Despite attempts from Silo 1 to issue collapse codes and trigger the Safeguard, the data breach meant there was no way to verify whether the protocols were successfully enacted. The camera feeds were cut. Communications were severed. The founders no longer had full access to the silo system. This breach likely explains why the algorithm never appeared in Silo 17. The loss of communication and data transfer could have disrupted the algorithm's control, especially over Silo 17, which was among the silos affected by the hack. This would mean that for a period of time, Silo 17 was left to its own devices, unable to receive commands or protocols from the central system.
It's also a map. Now it differs.
The importance of the comms and power cables. In Silo Season 2, Episode 5, Lucas Kyle uncovers some original blueprints of the silo, and something catches his eye. Cables running from the silo walls. These cables are crucial because they represent the core of the silo's communication and power systems. One of these cables is likely the communications line that connects the silos, while the other could be the gas line used in the termination protocol. The very mechanism that wipes out a silo in case of rebellion. These cables would have been critical for maintaining control over the system, including the algorithm's ability to monitor and intervene. With the breach caused by the rogue IT head of Silo 40, the communication and gas lines between silos were compromised. As a result, Silo 17 may have been effectively isolated from the algorithm's reach.
That risk.
In 10 months, the water's coming into IT.
Was Silo 17's data compromised? Let's consider another possibility. The data for Silo 17 may have been wiped out or altered during the breach. When Jimmy Conroy, Solo, talks about the Uprising, he mentions how the rebels opened the airlock and went outside. This is important because, according to the book, the algorithm would typically be aware of such actions and would be able to intervene if necessary. However, Solo and the other survivors didn't experience the usual consequences of the safeguard. This suggests that either the algorithm wasn't able to access Silo 17's data, or the data was altered to prevent the safeguard from activating. The latter seems to align with an important plot point from the books: a character who rigged the system to give the next Silo a chance to survive. Could it be that, through a combination of rogue actions and technical failures, Silo 17 became an anomaly in the algorithm's control system? If the algorithm lost track of the Silo due to the data breach and a subsequent alteration of codes, it's possible that the Silo was left unmonitored and unaffected by the safeguard.
Lucas Kyle, why are you here?
The absence of the algorithm's voice. One of the key features of the algorithm is its ability to communicate with Silo residents. We've seen this in various silos, particularly with Lucas Kyle's use of an AI-powered tablet in Silo 18. But Solo's experience with the algorithm is different. He never hears the algorithm's voice. He never gets direct communication from it, which raises an interesting question. Why? This could be due to a simple reason. Solo was never authorized to interact with the algorithm. The algorithm's database contains critical information, and only those who are verified and authorized can access it. Solo, being a rebel, would likely not be on the algorithm's radar. In fact, he may not even exist in the algorithm's records, considering that he was part of an uprising that took place during a time when communication with Silo 17 had been severed. In Silo Season 2, Episode 9, we see how the algorithm warns Lucas Kyle about the safeguard. This direct communication is expected and normal because Lucas is an authorized individual. However, Solo, on the other hand, was never authorized to use the system, which explains why he was never contacted by the algorithm, even though he was a key figure in the rebellion.
We will have no choice but to initiate the safeguard.
A theoretical explanation: the gift of Silo 17. This leads us to a final speculative theory: the gift that Jimmy Conroy refers to. Could the events surrounding Silo 17 have been a stroke of luck? According to the books, one of the key characters altered the system in such a way that the next Silo targeted for termination would be spared. Was Silo 17 that next Silo? Imagine this: the algorithm had been corrupted or compromised by the breach, and the safeguard's gas line, which would have wiped out the entire Silo, was somehow bypassed. Instead of a lethal poison, the survivors of Silo 17 received something entirely different: a gift that would change the game completely. Could this gift be the reason why Solo and the others survived the Uprising? This would explain the strange timing of the event. The rebels opened the airlock and exposed themselves to the deadly dust, but the survivors inside Silo 17 were spared. It could have been a combination of bad luck and fortunate timing that saved the lives of the survivors, or perhaps the intervention of someone or something outside of the algorithm's control.
Old enough to be able to be responsible for all of this. You were 12.
More questions than answers. The absence of the algorithm in Silo 17 remains one of the series' most intriguing mysteries. While we may not have all the answers yet, the data breach, the rogue IT head, and the possibility of system alterations all offer plausible explanations for why Silo 17 escaped the algorithm's notice. As the show progresses, it's likely that we'll learn more about the inner workings of the Silo system and the true nature of the algorithm. For now, we can only speculate on the circumstances that allowed Silo 17 to survive when every other Silo would have faced a catastrophic end. It's a mystery that could change everything we think we know about the Silo system, and one that will likely play a key role in the future of the show.
Hey, you guys want to hear some music?
Our nerdy thoughts. As we've seen, Silo is a show that thrives on its mysteries and complex storylines. The absence of the algorithm in Silo 17 is just one of many questions that keep us hooked, and I'm sure that future seasons will continue to peel back the layers of this enigmatic world. Whether the answers lie in the breach, in the algorithm's manipulations, or in some unforeseen twist. There's still much to discover. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive into the mystery of Silo 17. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more theories, breakdowns, and speculations as we continue exploring the secrets of Silo. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.
Do you know what the safeguard is, Mr. Kyle?
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.